Part 14. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 131. Cheng didn't go over immediately. He smiled for a while. Having enjoyed it enough, he went to the kitchen unhurriedly. A moment later, Cheng walked over carrying a dead rabbit that had thawed out. He picked up Muzi with one hand, and threw the rabbit into the glass box with the other. Muzi only felt her body suddenly soar into the air, and then gently fall into the sofa. She couldn't help thinking, he is really strong. I told you a long time ago that I have to feed it once a month, are you lazy? Cheng pinched her nose and laughed at her. Muzi felt that he was being unreasonable. Your snake ran out, so you blame me instead. It's our snake, Cheng corrected her. Muzi didn't want to argue with him, so she picked up the little crow and said in a serious tone, it wants to eat the little crow, this terrarium is too weak, you have to think of a way, or you'll have to worry about it every day. Cheng didn't take it seriously, and said, it's just hungry, it hasn't eaten for too long, and no one takes it out for a walk, and no one bathes it. If it were you, would you be able to bear it? Muzi blushed. What Cheng said seemed to accuse her of cruelty to animals. But, she really doesn't have any compassion for Sisi, she's afraid it will be too late. How can she still love? Musa turned to look at the glass box. Sisi had stopped crawling out, its body was crawling, slowly swallowing the dead rabbit. Such a big rabbit almost filled the entire mouth of the snake, and then swallowed it bit by bit. The scene of the snake eating was cruel. Even though she knew it was a dead rabbit, Muzi still couldn't bear to watch it. Cheng then defrosted a rabbit and 3 chickens. Sisi ate all these foods. The snake's belly was swollen, and Musa was terrified when she saw it ate so much. Well, after all, the interval is relatively long, Cheng said lightly, you can also feed less, but when Sisi can't bear the hunger, he will run out to look for food. Muzi's heart felt cold. She thought it was better to feed more, it must be very full. Cheng saw that her face turned blue and white, and thought it was funny. He picked her up and put her on his lap. I saw you didn't respond last time, I thought you were used to it, why are you still so scared? Last time she was forced to walk the snake, bathe it, and apply medicine. In the end, she did feel a little numb. But that's different. At that time, Cheng was by her side, but today she is alone. Facing a giant python alone, and it is still a hungry giant python, can you not be afraid? Muzi pursed her lips and remained silent. Such an answer made it seem like she couldn't do without him. Muzi didn't want Cheng to misunderstand. And he didn't want Cheng to be complacent. She struggled to get off Cheng's lap, but he held her tightly. Let go of me. Muzi pulled his arm vigorously. Mom will be back anytime. Cheng was silent, and then let go of her. Muzi immediately moved 8 feet away from him. Cheng sighed lightly, with a hint of sadness in his tone, it will be fine when the relationship is made public. Really want to label her from head to toe. Muzi said, Cheng, you should accumulate some virtue. I am only 16 years old, and people know that I am not only in a puppy love, but also having an affair with my brother. Do you want me to go out and be drowned by spitting stars? Don't talk nonsense. Cheng's face was slightly cold. He didn't like Muzi talking about the relationship between the two of them so badly. Some things don't exist if you don't talk about them. I want to study, make friends, and live a normal life. Muzi scratched her hair irritably. Cheng, you made me abnormal. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 132. Cheng will not let Muzi go. He has waited for so many years, meticulously arranged, offered huge rewards, and found one after another so-called out-of-world experts and enlightened mages from deep mountains and old forests. After finally managing the current situation, he must firmly grasp Musa. However, she is indeed younger now. When he went to school in the future, he would meet all kinds of friends. If he really made his relationship public, gossip would be unavoidable, and his darling would be stared at in school. Murong Cheng's reputation in the outside world has long been rotted to the limit. He doesn't care about it, but he doesn't want Muzi to suffer this kind of grievance. Okay, I'll talk about this matter after you graduate. Murong Cheng seemed to have thought it over, and said slowly, after graduation, I will go abroad to study in university, and hold the wedding ceremony by the way. You think beautifully. Muzi blurted out and wanted to scold him, but when the words came to her lips, she forcibly held back. Just accept it when it's good, don't provoke this lunatic now. After graduation in 2 or 3 years, she must have figured out a way to get out. Since the relationship cannot be made public, Murong Cheng is still her brother, and the closest one among all the opposite sex around her, unless Muzi makes a boyfriend in school. Will she? Murong Cheng was a little worried. It stands to reason that Muzi is actually in her 20s, so she shouldn't look down on those brats in school, but many things are uncertain in this world. What if she wants to eat tender grass? Don't hook up with people outside, you know. Murong Cheng stared at her sternly. Muzi closed her eyes, and replied word by word, I only want learn. Murong Cheng smiled, he believed in this very much. Muzi turned out to be a well-known high-cold goddess in school. Countless suitors were daunting, but only one, Muzening, persevered. She seems to be immune to love by nature. No matter how romantic or touching the suitor makes, she has no reaction, even if the girls around her almost fainted from screaming. Murong Cheng sat beside her, and gently touched her small face. Well, Zizi is good. Muzi After sitting for a while, Murong Cheng saw the branches on the ground that had just been unpacked, got up to get the tools, and put them together in the living room. This is actually a large bird stand, which is more natural and decorative with log materials. When Murong Cheng was working, Muzi watched silently from the side. The branches that were helpless in her hands immediately became extraordinary in Murong Cheng's hands, and the prototype of the bracket was quickly assembled. Perhaps this kind of work should be given to men, with strong arms, strong hands, slender fingers holding branches, well-defined joints, and full of strength. He lowered his eyes, with an indifferent and focused expression, and the bracket gradually took shape in his hands, making people feel that both the bracket and the people working on it are so pleasing to the eye. Muzi couldn't help feeling a little bit in her heart, how nice it is when you don't pervert. What? Murong Cheng raised his head and asked. A few strands of thick black short hair hung on his forehead, a little messy, but also a little seductive and sexy. It's nothing. Muzi blushed slightly. She had inadvertently said what was in her heart just now, but fortunately her voice was low, so Murong Cheng couldn't hear it clearly. Murong Cheng arranged the brackets of the sycamore branches and got up to pack the tools. This is a shelf for big parrots. Our crows can't use it. You should buy a cage. Murong Cheng liked to use the word we. The cage is so embarrassing. Musa didn't like it, but after thinking about it, she thought that maybe she really should buy a cage. At least Sisi couldn't eat the cage and the bird. She was thinking about buying a bird cage, but Murong Cheng suddenly asked her, how's the case with the Zhang family going? Muzi was taken aback. How did he know? Yes, of course he did. He knew where she went every day, who she met, and how many phone calls she had. Of course he knew that she was investigating Zhang Huan's case. Sure enough, Murong Cheng was still a pervert. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HhandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 133. The investigation is almost complete, there are still some doubts that have not been clarified. I replied. If it was Mu Zhenning who asked her, she would pretend to be deaf and dumb, but the person who asked was Murong Cheng, and Mu Zi didn't dare to play tricks, so she didn't think it was necessary. The other party controls your every move, wouldn't it be ridiculous if you lie again? Murong Cheng touched her head and said with a smile, didn't I give you a company? Let the investigators investigate directly, there is no need to tire myself. Hearing this, Mu Zi raised her head, and the bottom of her eyes shone with a faint light, revealing her yearning faintly. No, she lowered her head and said quietly, it sounds nice that it was given to me, but it's actually not yours, the people in the company must also listen to you. Her resentful little appearance made Murong Cheng laugh, and he held his pink face and kissed again, and said with a smile, what did I lie to you for? I was a temporary vice president in that company, and the employees never saw each other. I have never met me, and I never care what the company does or what happens, you can run it however you want, and I will never interfere. Mu Zi's eyes lit up again, a little excited, really? She looks like a child receiving candy, or a deer peeping at a green grassland, with joy flowing in her clear eyes, pure and ignorant. Murong Cheng's heart was slightly warm, and he kissed her lips. He knew that Mu Zi didn't like to be in close contact with him, and he was afraid that she would struggle, so this kiss was light, very gentle, but it didn't prevent him from remembering her sweetness and beauty. Mu Zi only frowned slightly, and didn't struggle too fiercely. She was taken advantage of by Murong Cheng, and she was already numb. However, her obedience caused great joy in Murong Cheng's heart. His Zizi was finally willing to accept him. Murong Cheng kissed her even harder, his lips and teeth were close together, and his palms stroked the smooth skin. Mu Zi felt that he was going on endlessly, so she showed some signs of blowing up. Murong Cheng, don't make trouble with me. Murong Cheng let go of her slightly, buried his head on her neck and sniffed the fragrance, feeling a little unfinished. In fact, when he is in a good mood, he can be regarded as a very negotiable person. I'll take you to the company tomorrow. As the president, it's time to go to the company to recognize people, he said. When Mu Zi heard this, the corners of her mouth turned up unknowingly, and she was in a good mood, but she didn't want to make Murong Cheng feel happy, so she put the smile on her face away, only her eyes were shining like black gemstones, and she couldn't hide her expectation and joy. Her awkward appearance looks really cute. The more Murong Cheng looked at her, the more he liked her, he pressed her on the sofa and kissed and rubbed her. Mu Zi didn't know why he was going crazy again, he struggled a few times to no avail, and shouted angrily, Murong Cheng, you bastard! It took less than 3 minutes for you to go out of order again. He smiled, Zizi, I can't help it when I see you. Mu Zi felt like fainting after hearing this. Is it her fault that he is so perverted? The two kept arguing until Bai Wei came back. Bai Wei went out for a whole day, took the photos she took in the garden last time, and went to a photo studio to develop and frame them. She brought back a collection of photo albums, and frames big and small. The thing was very heavy, and the driver helped to move it in. Seeing that her children were at home, she greeted happily, come and take a look, all the photos have been washed. Mu Zi felt that Bai Wei was exaggerating, it was only for taking a photo, but she actually wanted to enlarge it and frame it. Murong Cheng flipped through the photos, the corners of his lips curled up slightly, with a bit of enjoyment, it's a good shot, but it's a pity I wasn't there that day. He looked sideways at Mu Zi, Zi, how many pictures shall we take next time? Okay, you two don't have a photo together yet, Bai Wei immediately agreed. Mu Zi was speechless. Mom, can you stop making fun of me? Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 134. Murong Cheng helped Bai Wei hang up the photo. When Bai Wei wasn't paying attention, he leaned close to Mu Zi and whispered, "Next time I'll take you home to take pictures." Mu Zi's face changed slightly. He was still thinking about abducting her home. Mu Zi didn't know where Murong Cheng's lair was, and he wasn't interested, but when he mentioned it several times, Mu Zi always had a very bad premonition. It seems that once you go to that place, you will never come back. Murong Cheng's tone was considered. "Wait a few more days, I will take you to the company tomorrow to get acquainted." Mu Zi breathed a sigh of relief. It's better to go to the company and go to Murong Cheng's lair. After Murong Cheng hung up those photos, he was rushed away by a phone call. "When I was a prodigal, I used to say that I went to gamble and drink every time I went out, but now it is convenient, and I always say that the company has something to do when I go out." One sentence, that the company has something to do, blocked all Bai Wei's nagging. Mu Zi remembered that when he called today, there was a lot of noise on his side, and he vaguely heard a few words, such as Parrot Bay and how many points of profit, but he didn't understand. But he was able to come back in time. Mu Zi was still grateful. Only, it's just that this little gratitude made her feel uncomfortable and awkward. As if, I was brainwashed by evil forces? No, 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 she is a good young man with 3 views and integrity. How can she abandon the light and turn to the dark? Mu Zi told herself secretly in her heart, "Take care of your heart, don't be fooled by him, that pervert is just playing with you." At night, no one disturbed her, and Mu Zi had a good night's sleep. When she woke up in the morning, she fed the bird as usual, put the bird in her messenger bag, and went downstairs to have breakfast refreshed. Bai Wei said, "I see that you bought a bird stand made of sycamore branches. The sycamore tree is good." In ancient times, the phoenix tree was not the only place where the sycamore tree lived. Mu Zi couldn't help laughing. Anyway, no matter what kind of bird stand she bought, Bai Wei would praise her. Bai Wei asked again, "Have you given the little bird a name? How about calling it Little Phoenix?" Little Phoenix? A crow named Phoenix? Mu Zi felt that she couldn't yell out, "No, I'll only raise it for a month, and let it go when it can fly. There's no need to name it specially." Bai Wei showed a regretful expression on her face, thought for a while, then nodded and said, "Well, you are right, it is better to let wild birds like this fly. There is nothing better than freedom." After breakfast, Murong Cheng called and said he was waiting for her outside. Mu Zi asked Bai Wei if she wanted to go. Unfortunately, because the Mu family is about to hold a banquet, Aunt Li from the big kitchen asked Bai Wei how to cook a few dishes, and Bai Wei agreed to teach Aunt Li how to cook today. So Mu Zi went alone, with the little crow in his bag. She was very happy to be able to own her own company, but when she got into Murong Cheng's car, some bad memories flooded up involuntarily. Is it safe? Mu Zi touched the car window subconsciously. Will there be another assassination? How about, you tell me the address, and I'll take a taxi, Mu Zi tentatively said. Murong Cheng laughed. Mu Zi tilted his head and asked him again, "Someone always wants your life, aren't you afraid?" "Zizi, no one can kill me." Murong Cheng was very arrogant. Mu Zi pouted, "Why can't I kill you? You're not a ghost." Murong Cheng couldn't help laughing loudly. "I'm sure I'm not a ghost, but my Zizi is a real and stunning female ghost, otherwise how could I be so fascinated?" Mu Zi felt guilty and embarrassed, her cheeks were flushed, and she said angrily, "You are a ghost. You are a pervert." Murong Cheng didn't answer, he couldn't stop laughing while hugging her. Mu Zi became more and more embarrassed. Wang Zhan at the front turned his face, and said courteously, "Miss Mu, There is something called luck. Our master's luck is beyond ordinary people's comparison. The eminent monk has approved his life, the honor of a prince, the ability of a hero. Think if you want to hurt our master, you have to kill yourself. Murong Cheng kicked the back of his seat. Wang Zhan quickly retracted his head, not daring to disturb him any more. Mu Ziyi was speechless. Did Murong Cheng still believe this? Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 135. Murong Cheng took Mu Ziyi to Huamao Building. Mu Ziyi recognized this place. The Huamao Building, which looks like a giant, is the landmark building of Qingjiang City, and also the business core area of Qingjiang City. There are a lot of office buildings, hotels, and clubs here, full of strong modern business atmosphere. Many companies in the world's Fortune 500 have settled here, planning great achievements, and a prosperous atmosphere. Her company can actually work in such a place. It feels really high-end. After thinking about it again, the owner of Huamao Building seems to be the Huo Group. Mu Ziyi secretly glanced at Murong Cheng. It seems that he has a certain status in the Huo Group, otherwise how could he have the authority to place the company here? The company is on the 36th floor of the building. It has been newly decorated not long ago. Once you walk in, it is bright and majestic. Murong Cheng really didn't lie to her. The staff didn't know him, only Wang Zhan. Everyone greeted Wang Zhan with a smile. Manager Wang. Wang Zhan called several leaders of the company to the conference room for a meeting, and introduced Murong Cheng and Mu Ziyi to everyone, and then led Mu Ziyi to visit various departments of the company. Murong Cheng didn't intend to show any sense of presence, went to the office alone, and let Wang Zhan take Mu Ziyi for a stroll. Mu Ziyi strolled very seriously. After all, it is her own company. She is very concerned and wants to understand as comprehensively as possible. This place was much bigger than she had imagined, and the customer service alone filled an office. And what Mu Ziyi is most interested in is the information technology department. The staff here can use the computer to intelligently filter and search for the information they want. Can I check everything? Mu Ziyi stared at the information chain that kept sliding on the computer, a little eager to try. The staff member said, as long as you have left traces on the internet, you can basically find them. Mu Ziyi thought for a while, and reported Zhou Jiaying's courier number to the staff. Can I find the buyer's account? The technician knew that Mu Ziyi was the president of the company, so he already wanted to please her, and seeing her pure and beautiful, his masculine instinct drove him to show off. Not only did he find out the buyer's account, he even cracked the password. Mu Ziyi was overjoyed. You are amazing. The sullen technical nerd smiled shyly. Mu Ziyi asked him to log into that account, and found that it was not Zhou Jiaying. The user's real name authentication showed that it was a 17-year-old boy with an unfamiliar name. Mu Ziyi couldn't help frowning. What kind of grudge does this person have with Zhang Huan? She checked the person's purchase records. Except for the large simulation tool, there is nothing unusual about the other products. Most of them are peripheral products of celebrities. Are you a groupie? Can you print a copy of his relevant information for me? Mu Ziyi asked the technician softly, very politely. No problem, it will be ready soon. The staff went to prepare materials, so Mu Ziyi went shopping elsewhere. Indeed, as Murong Cheng said, the company's operations are mature and everything is in order. Even Wang Zhan is just a casual job, and the real managerial position is taken by someone in the industry. Mu Ziyi was in a good mood, and she liked Murong Cheng's gift very much. She has one advantage, that is, she will not spoil things because of anger, the chef's careful cooking, the tailor's meticulous cutting, and such a company that has gone through the difficult period of starting a business and is on the right track. She is willing to respect and appreciate. This kind of statement seems to be a bit of a good-looking feeling after getting cheap. Mu Ziyi's face is inexplicably hot. When Wang Zhan took her back to the office, Murong Cheng was talking on the phone. He spoke French with a beautiful and pure pronunciation, which surprised Mu Ziyi a little. "Are you back?" Murong Cheng saw her coming in, said something to the other end of the phone, and then ended the call. "How do you like it?" he asked with a smile. "You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again." Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 136. There was a faint smile on Mu Ziyi's face. She nodded slightly, pursed her lips and remained silent. She loves it. How could she not like owning a company that has both a career and income? What's more, it's an industry that is good at investigation. No matter what she wants to investigate in the future, it will be more convenient. Murong Cheng saw the joy in her eyes, stretched out his hand to pull her over, and let Mu Ziyi sit on his lap. "If you like it, I will buy you another one later. What type do you like? A jewelry store or a real estate?" Mu Ziyi finally couldn't hold back, and burst out laughing. How can there be such a thing? In the past, when Mu Zhenning pursued her, he mostly asked what kind of flowers he liked, roses or tulips. It has become more affordable to Murong Cheng. "Are you buying Chinese cabbage when you buy a company?" Mu Ziyi was in a rare good mood, teasing him. "I don't have any business sense, so be careful to stockpile a pile of cabbage. As long as Zizi likes it, it's worth buying the whole street." Murong Cheng said it sincerely. What a sweet talk. Mu Ziyi raised her vigilance in her heart. Stay strong. You can't sell your body and soul to the devil for a small favor. Well, but this favor is really quite big. Murong Cheng hugged her and kissed her once. Mu Ziyi originally wanted to resist, but after thinking about how every time she competed with Murong Cheng, she ended in failure, so she felt that resisting was really meaningless. She remained motionless, appearing obedient and at the same time secretly startled. Money really has the effect of corrupting the soul. How many times have you received gifts, and you don't even have the courage to resist? Mu Ziyi gritted her teeth, not letting Murong Cheng's tongue go in. Murong Cheng's kiss persevered, falling on her lips, face and neck, lingering on and on. The kiss made her heart burn. He hugged Mu Ziyi tightly, and said in a low voice, "Come home with me in a while." Alarm bells rang in Mu Ziyi's heart. "I do not want." His words were like a sharp weapon, suddenly piercing into her bewildered brain. It hurt. Pain sober. Mu Ziyi grabbed Murong Cheng's collar tightly with both hands. "I don't want this company anymore. What do you think of me? Give me a gift, and take me home." Murong Cheng's face darkened slightly, his brows were cold. "Since it's given to you, it's yours." "I don't want it, the company will give it back to you." Mu Ziyi bit her lip, her expression was full of grievances and determination. "Murong Cheng, do you treat women outside like this? Send some valuables, and then get them on the bed." Murong Cheng was silent for a while, and the hot spot just now gradually cooled down. "He does have a lot of women outside, but those are just a cover, he just wants to get her into bed. But she doesn't like him." Murong Cheng felt bored. "Men like women, of course they want sex," he said. "You are vulgar. Obscene." Mu Ziyi frowned and scolded him, her eyes flushed with anxiety. "She doesn't want to go to bed." Seeing that she was really in a hurry, Murong Cheng couldn't help laughing. "Okay, I'm vulgar, I'm nasty, my Zizi is the most elegant and pure goddess, I can't go to that dross place and defile you, we won't go." Mu Ziyi's eyes flickered, as if she didn't believe it. Murong Cheng licked her face with his index finger. "The company already belongs to you, you are not allowed to say no casually in the future, otherwise I will punish you." "Punish her? How will Murong Cheng punish her? Muzi lowered her head and remained silent, her mind was clearer than ever before. Murong Cheng wanted to say something, but seeing her indifferent and resisting appearance, he swallowed the words again. Forget it, give her some more time. Just like a clam with a tightly closed shell, if you grind it patiently, you will be able to open the shell sooner or later, but the grinding process may be a little painful. When returning home, Murong Cheng had something to do and asked Wang Zhan to take Muzi home. Before getting into the car, he kissed her forehead lightly. When I'm done, let's take pictures. He was still thinking about it. Muzi sat in the car silently, and didn't refuse, because she couldn't refuse, so she didn't bother to speak. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 137. In the car, Muzi received a call from Zhang Si. You guessed it right, Zhang Si's voice was full of excitement. There really is Zhang Huan's static fluid on it. The sisters in the laboratory also found another woman's body fluid, so it's useless for Zhou Jiaying to argue next time already. Really, that's great. Muzi's tone was a little listless. Zhang Si was slightly taken aback, and asked her, what's wrong with you? I'm fine. Muzi was depressed, she couldn't describe this feeling, she couldn't help being played by others, she was very powerless. This time Murong Cheng showed mercy and let her go. What about next time? Next time? That man has no three views. One day, she will be abducted to the bed by him and abused wantonly, just like he treats those women outside. Muzi felt that her future was dark. Ask Zhou Jiaying to meet. Muzi frowned, pressed the position of her temples, and tried to divert her attention. Let Xiao Ming ask her to meet Zhang Huan's defense lawyer, and you go too, bring the test materials. Zhang Si was surprised, not in court anymore. It's best to settle it in court. Muzi explained, Zhang Huan has something to hide from us. If the opposing lawyer finds out, even if the case wins, the Zhang family will be dishonored. That's it? The two decided on a meeting place. Muzi simply refused to go home, and asked Wang Zhan to drive her to the meeting place. On the way, he received another call from Chu Mingjun. He didn't seem to have expected to confront Zhou Jiaying so soon, and said in a weak tone, Miss, are you going to date her now? But the seller said that it involves the buyer's privacy, and I haven't found the account name yet. Chu Mingjun felt very embarrassed. He assured that he would definitely find out, but when he actually checked, he encountered various obstacles. The face is very hurt. Muzi said, it's okay, I've already checked. Chu Mingjun, huh? Muzi hung up the phone. The location is about a milk tea shop near the community where Zhou Jiaying lives. Zhou Jiaying originally didn't want to go to the appointment, but when she heard that a police officer was there, she bit the bullet and went. Muzi ordered a cup of red bean pudding milk tea, and stood at the door of the milk tea shop to sip it. Chu Mingjun also held a cup of milk tea in his hand, but he didn't drink it for himself, he bought it for his cousin. He asked Muzi, don't we need to go in? Muzi replied, you can go in if you want. How about you? I'm still young, so it's useless to go in. Muzi bit the straw, and looked at the glass window with a calm expression. It's enough to have Officer John come out. Muzi is very clear that she is only a child now, and this kind of thing needs to be done by someone with sufficient deterrence, the effect will be the best. This is the reason why there is specialization in the art industry. Chu Mingjun also looked into the window, seeing his cousin slapping the table and throwing documents aggressively inside, he was terrified. It's scary. Zhou Jiaying in the milk tea shop, her face turned red and then pale, her black and white eye sockets were filled with tears, and finally couldn't hold it anymore, she covered her face and burst out of the milk tea shop crying bitterly. Chu Mingjun immediately ran in and said, Cousin, you made the little girl cry. Jiang Xi's face was livid, and her anger still persisted. What did I scold her for? I just asked her why there were Zhang Huans and other women's on that stick. Is he calling it a violent or a threesome? Chu Mingjun shook his head and clicked his tongue. Cousin, you are too ruthless. The little girl has a thin skin. Aren't you afraid that she will be tempted to commit suicide after returning home? What a young life. I hurt her, Jiang Xi snorted coldly. I'm helping her. When she grows up, she will only be grateful to me. Mu Ziyi interrupted the siblings and asked Jiang Xi, has Zhou Jiaying agreed to surrender herself? Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 138. Although Jiang Xi was a beautiful woman, she was vicious when she was angry. Her heroic eyebrows were erected, and her eyes were as fierce as a man's. How many prisoners obediently recorded their statements under her hands? No matter how scheming Zhou Jiaying was, she was still just a little girl. Given the conclusive evidence, Zhou Jiaying was unable to refute, and burst into tears in shame and despair. Jiang Xi is not a man, and he doesn't know how to pity and sympathize with Jade. He said sharply, you are young, and if you voluntarily surrender, you may not be really punished, but if you are obsessed and lie about the case to interfere with judicial work, even if the Zhang family does not pursue it, our police have the right to arrest you. After a severe reprimand, I finally slapped the handcuffs on the table. Zhou Jiaying's face was pale, crying so much that she could only sob and nod. Jiang Xi told Mu Ziyi what had happened, and said, she was out of breath from crying, and she didn't say she would turn herself in, but I reckon she will go to the police station tomorrow at the latest. Chu Mingjun asked cautiously, then what if she doesn't go? Impossible. Jiang Xi picked up the handcuffs and twirled them twice on her index finger, with a gangster tone in her tone, unless she wants to be handcuffed to the police station by me. Cousin Ying Liu. Chu Mingjun graciously served milk tea, massaged Jiang Xi's shoulders, and said with a smile, cousin will take care of my younger brother more in the future, and help my small law firm get more business. Okay, don't do this to me. Jiang Xi waved him away. Hurry up and report to your benefactor, so that he won't worry about it. Chu Mingjun's benefactor is Zhang Huan. The case was handed over to Mingjun Law Firm, and if it was completed, it would naturally be paid, but the Zhang family's muddled case had a very considerable reward. Chu Mingjun couldn't help but nodded repeatedly. Okay, the two sisters have worked hard today, I'll go first. Chu Mingjun didn't call, but went to Jiang's house in person, showing full sincerity. He was very self-aware, and praised Mu Ziyi and Jiang Xi fiercely. He didn't ask for any credit, and his attitude was extremely humble. Jiang's father and Jiang's mother happened to be at home, and they were overjoyed to learn that their son's suspicion had been cleared. After Chu Mingjun left, the family got together and discussed holding a banquet to celebrate. Having a banquet, isn't it a bit too ostentatious? Zhang Huan was in a daze when he was pleasantly surprised, and always found it incredible. How could a difficult problem that could not be solved by all means, be resolved invisibly in just a few days? You should show off. Mother Zhang finally managed to vomit out the anger she had held back for a long time, otherwise, people outside may still regard you as a rapist. Jiang's father also nodded slightly. It's time to hold a banquet. We don't do it very much. We always invite relatives and friends. During this period of time, we have suffered a lot of scolding for no reason. We should feel proud and rectify Ahuan's reputation. As he spoke, his tone paused, and he said to Zhang Huan, Ms. Mu contributed a lot to this matter. You must thank her well. Let's invite Ms. Mu to attend the banquet tomorrow. It should. Zhang Huan nodded. Jiang's father said again, you and Zening have a good relationship. He also helped a lot when you had an accident this time, but don't inform him about the banquet. Lest you sit at the same table in time, the scene is embarrassing, and it will be in vain. Life is not fast. Zhang Huan thought for a while, then nodded in agreement. When Mu Ziyi returned home, Mu's house was bustling with activity. The Mu family is going to hold a banquet too. Although it starts tomorrow, it needs to be arranged from today. The top quality abalone and oysters need to be ordered in advance, as well as the preferences of the guests. All aspects must be taken into account. The Mu family has no mistress. Mrs. Mu had passed away, and Bai Wei never took care of things. Mu Zhenning invited Xiao Jingjia over to organize a banquet with Mu Yun. Xiao Jingjia was wearing a champagne-colored dress, like a half-mistress of Mu's family, standing in the living room and ordering the servants to decorate the living room, busy inside and out. It was very lively. Mu Ziyi stood in the distance and looked at it coldly for a while. These excitement have nothing to do with her. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 139. Summer is coming to an end, the breeze in the evening is cool, the roses on both sides of the road are blooming gorgeously, and the petals are falling like rain, paved on the cobblestone road like a magnificent oil painting of tapestry, winding and enchanting. Mu Ziyi walked slowly on the garden path. The maid cleaning the garden greeted her, "Miss Mu Ziyi is back." Mu Ziyi responded, "Yes, I just came back and saw that the house is very lively. The company has overcome the difficulties. The third young master is going to hold a banquet to celebrate. He has invited a lot of guests, and several grand-uncles from the clan will also come to the house." "Really, that's really rare." Mu Ziyi smiled. Her heart was devastated. Mu Zhenning saved the Mu family's company with her insurance compensation. And the person who killed her may be drinking and singing in this feast. How ironic. Can't think about it, it's unbearable to think about it. Mu Ziyi secretly endured it. However, sometimes an old saying is true, the road to enemies is narrow. When passing by the rose bush, Mu Ziyi met Xiao Jingjia and took Mu Ling to cut the roses. They wanted to use roses to decorate the dance floor, and the servant cut a few bouquets, but Xiao Jingjia was not satisfied, so she came over in person. "You need to cut off the buds that are about to open, so that tomorrow, the roses will bloom just right." Xiao Jingjia boasted of her elegance, and taught Mu Ling hand in hand. Seeing Mu Ziyi's figure, Mu Ling's eyes flickered, and she immediately stopped her with a smile. "Mu Ziyi, are you going out to play again? I heard that Mr. Zhang was sued, didn't you recommend a law firm?" "Don't worry. I still have time to play." Quite a bit of gloating. Holding the freshly cut roses in her hand, Xiao Jingjia turned her face to look at Mu Ziyi. Mu Ling hated Mu Ziyi in his heart, and today it was a rare opportunity to continue to sarcastically say, "Some people just don't have self-knowledge, and if they want to curry favor, they have to see if they have the ability. Alas, now that they have caused trouble, I'm afraid others need to help with the aftermath, and Xiao, you must help us with Mr. Jiang's case." Xiao Jingjia pursed her lips and smiled, and said softly, "As long as we can settle before the trial and persuade the other party to withdraw the lawsuit, there is no room for improvement." Mu Ling immediately said, "Auntie Xiao has a way, unlike some people who only introduce third-rate law firms and mislead people. Ah, if Mr. Zhang is really in prison, Aunt Zhang will be very sad." "This sad, see some students who are intrusive, will you be expelled directly?" "Ha ha." As Mu Ling said, he laughed crisply, as if he really saw Mu Ziyi's desolate appearance when he was rejected at the school gate. Mu Ling was very happy. "You talk so much, aren't you afraid of the wound on your lip opening?" Mu Ziyi stood quietly, with a light smile on her face, showing no irritation. I watched from a distance. Why is the scar still there? I have to see so many relatives and friends tomorrow. Friends, can you cover it up with more lipstick? Mu Ling broke her lip last time, and had a few stitches on her lip, and there are still marks on her lip. Although it is not obvious, it is already a big hatred for a girl who loves beauty. You don't have to worry about it. Mu Ling's smile was stiff, and he gritted his teeth. Mu Ziyi smiled, and walked away lightly. Xiao Jingjia looked at Mu Ziyi's back and thought to herself, she underestimated this adopted daughter. Now that she was on fire, Mu Ziyi was not in a hurry. Could it be that a third-rate law firm could really handle the case? If so, wouldn't it appear that she is incompetent? Xiao Jingjia was worried that things would change. Thinking back carefully, she felt that this was impossible. The reconciliation plan she proposed is the best way to solve this case. Now the whole city knows what happened, and the Zhang family is too confused. Not her fault. And Mu Ziyi's composure just now must have been deliberately trying to be brave. Xiao Jingjia thought so. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 140. The next day, Mu's house was even more lively, and all the relatives who rarely walked around on weekdays came. Mu's group is a family business, and Mu Zhenning only holds the majority. The rest of the shareholders are all related by marriage. The company's operating conditions are gradually improving, which makes everyone happy. Music is played in the garden villa, the magnificent crystal chandeliers are complicated and bright, bouquets of roses are surrounded near the dance floor, the flowers are fragrant, and there are delicious steaks, top seafood, exquisite desserts, and old wines, come up like water. The Mu family held several funerals in succession, and it was the first time in such a long time that such a luxurious banquet was held. However, there are some small accidents at the moment. Among the invited guests, 2 or 3 were unable to come because they went to Jiang's house for a banquet temporarily. The Zhang family held a banquet. Mu Zhenning didn't know about it. He called a guest who was going to Jiang's house for a banquet, and the other party said, it seems to be related to that case. The Zhang family wants to entertain an important guest. If you ask more specifically, it's not clear. Maybe it's the end of the road, and I want to ask someone for help. The guest, you also know that his family's case is about to go to court, and the situation is very unfavorable. Recently, the Zhang family almost occupied the news headlines in Xinjiang City, and everyone was talking about Zhang Huan's case. Sexual assault is already a huge scandal, and the target is actually his own student, which is even more embarrassing. Mu Zhenning never believed that his friend would do such a thing. He wanted to call Zhang Huan, but he was afraid that the other party would be embarrassed, so he hesitated for a while. And Mu Ling, who was always paying attention to the Zhang family's movements, also got the news, so she immediately ran to find Mu Yun. I called Zhang's Hinyuan to ask, her family has a dinner party today, and they said they would invite an important guest, Mu Ling said. Xiao Jingjia and Mu Yun were entertaining female guests. When Mu Ling bluffed like this, they were both taken aback. Mu Yun smiled softly, Jiang's family is in this situation, and they are still in the mood to hold a banquet. I'm afraid they took this important guest as their last life-saving talisman. Aunt Xiao, I think you will suffer tonight. Xiao Jingjia's mind moved slightly, and she quickly understood what Mu Yun meant. Mu Ling was still confused, and asked, Sister, what do you mean? You mean that the guest the Zhang family wants to invite is Aunt Xiao? Apart from Auntie Xiao, who else can help the Zhang family? Mu Yun smiled, her tone firm. Auntie Xiao wanted to help them before, but the Zhang family insisted on using a small law firm that couldn't get on the table. The court is about to start, and I'm probably too anxious to make up my mind. Everyone knew about the Zhang family's case, but they didn't know that Xiao Jingjia had intervened. They all looked at Xiao Jingjia after hearing the news. Suddenly becoming the focus of everyone, Xiao Jingjia was a little caught off guard, but she was very proud in her heart, and wrote lightly, "It's nothing, it's all my job, and I will help as much as I can." Miss Xiao can find a way to solve such a certain case in the Zhang family, which is amazing. Yes, Ms. Xiao is not only young and beautiful, but also has excellent ability. She became a prosecutor at a young age, which has given us women a face. We women only know how to drink tea and watch plays. If Ms. Xiao doesn't mind, please come to our house as a guest someday. However, any wealthy family will inevitably not be involved in a lawsuit. As a prosecutor, Xiao Jingjia soon became the target of people's wooing and friendship. The fact that the Zhang family wanted to invite Xiao Jingjia to a banquet spread quickly at the banquet.